Welcome to another Monday. Good afternoon.
We made it.
We did.
We didn't get whacked over the weekend.
We did not get, well, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
That may have been after the event on Saturday. No. Now, tomorrow's my anniversary, 18 years.
Wow.
Haven't been whacked in a while. You know what I mean?
You're still on, as they say. Not
yeah.
on.
Well, it is what it is. So.
Right.
Yeah, Monday. I'm glad we had a good weekend, I think.
I had a great weekend. I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. They worked me a lot harder than I thought I was gonna have to work, but yeah, it was great. It was fun.
So we were actually at the MICHAEL FRANZESE.
That's right.
Concert, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what
speaking engagement, I guess.
I guess it's a speaking engagement.
Yeah.
And that is the way that you say it. So all the jackasses that were texting in when I was like, yeah, MICHAEL FRANZESE joins us tonight. And you were like, oh, no, it's MICHAEL Francese. And, okay, wannabe Italians. The guy said his name himself, Franzese.
Yeah. Yeah, just because you saw it in Goodfellas doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
Stop it. Because that's the only place that he goes by Francese is in Goodfellas when they this is Tommy Two Eyes or whatever his name is, and he goes and Mikey Francese,
right.
And that's not his name. It's
just
not his name.
Franzese is the way that the announcer voice said it, and it was a very cool event, though, I have to say.
It was.
A lot of fun.
Were you surprised, before we get into the event itself, were you surprised how many people were there?
Yeah, a little bit, man. I have to say, it was a well-attended event.
Yeah.
And a lot of bling, a lot of gold horns around the necks. And
well, the funny thing is we were told all week by, or at least I was told, I don't know what you were told by what's her name? The I don't want to say
Marie.
Marie, who
from
was
Current Year Records in Karma, great place, by the way.
Could not have been sweeter. She is so nice.
She's awesome.
But she had, I know she had told you, and I had talked to my guy's name that I talked to is Chris McNeil, and Chris had told me, well, we're thinking it's a 1,300 seat venue, but we're thinking like 600 people. There was way more than 600 people.
Yeah, it looked like that. Yeah, it definitely did.
It looked like about 1,000, I would say.
And I have to say, I was quite happy with the reaction that we got from the crowd. There was a lot of people there that actually watched this show.
Yeah,
a lot more that are in the corner of the little eyeball up there that lies and tells you there's 3 people watching.
Right.
It was quite a good reaction, so it was fun.
Yeah, we both had people come up to us during the show saying that they watch the show every week and they enjoy the show, and and hello to those people, and that was very cool. It was very. I had a great time all the way around. I mean, they definitely treated us like we belonged there, which was awesome, I thought.
Oh yeah, it was very cool. That was the highlight of my night.
Well, the highlight of my night was the highlight, and we'll get into what I had to do work-wise here in a minute, but before the show started, like right before the show started, they did the whole light flicker thing and whatever to tell people to sit down and shut up. And then when everybody sat down, right before Michael came on, they Chris McNeil did a little talk on the microphone, like right up in front of it, thanking everybody that made things happen.
Yes.
And he thanked, the strudel place, and he thanked the record store, and he thanked Bob Franz, and he thanked 92.3. I don't know what show he appeared on there, but he must have. He thanked all kinds of shows. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, please.
But what?
No, go ahead.
Well, then he thanked us.
Yes.
And that was nice. And then he thanked me personally as their new special friend.
Yes.
which was, and dude, I was sitting next to my partner Neely that I do the classic metal show with when that happened. I had just come out. I had been backstage in the green room, kind of policing the green room area, which that was tough. But I had literally just come out, sit down, and then they started talking, and right away it's like, and our new friend Chris Aiken. I was like, wow, look at me. I looked at Neil and he's like, Jesus, fucking superstar.
See, but I thought it was so cool because, again, I didn't think that this show would get a mention at all. But we were mentioned before, like 92.3 was mentioned, which I thought was pretty sweet.
I did too.
I mean, Bob Franz. He's like one of the best in the biz.
Sure.
And, so it was cool that he didn't go though.
Right.
I was missing. I think he had another function that he had to attend, so that's fine. His board op, who I actually know, was there, and that was kind of cool to see that guy. But it was cool to actually have our name shouted out, and your name especially as a friend. But I walk in, and they had some sort of festival going on the right. We're going to get to Flat Earth guy in just a minute. Greg Simmons already checking in about the Flat Earth, but he's coming up in just a few. They had a festival going on in downtown Lorraine, some international fest. So it was very difficult to find a place to park, but I found a handicap spot. See, losing a leg ain't all bad. And it was like right up front in front of the theater. So I was able to walk in. That was fine. And I walk in, there's you just sitting there at the table looking menacing. And the publicist, Chris, and then your mom was there.
Yeah, my mom was hanging out.
Who I have to say, my wife and I talked about her all night because she was like the sweetest little thing I've ever met in my life. She was just adorable, so nice and fun, and it was very cool.
Yeah, it would have been nice if any of you would have given me any kind of prop. It's like I walked back into the green room a little later in the show, and Neely was saying something to you about, I've been having to deal with him for 27 years. And then my mom's like, well, I've been dealing with him for 54. I was like, Jesus, what am I, the bad guy here? Did I get you all in here?
Look, I'm not going to get all mushy and kind of weird, but cause it is the show. But like for real, before they brought everybody backstage for the meet and greet and all that kind of stuff, I was standing next to your mom. She was in the seats, and I was standing there, and I was talking to her. I said, I have to say you have a fantastic son. He came into, this time of my life that I needed somebody, and he helped me with the show, and now is part of the show, and like we're partners in this, and I'm excited about it. And I was like, it's just really cool. And I was like, I can't thank you enough for Chris. And she kind of looked at me and she goes, well, things sometimes just happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very cool, very nice. It was a nice little moment that we had. So.
Sure. Yeah. She had a ball. I mean, she had a ball. She was happy to meet you. She was happy to see Neely. She was happy to see me, which me and her never get to spend a whole lot of time together. So yeah, it was cool. It was, and my mom is such a gangster. She like, my brother had a family trip out to Vegas with his family, and he took my mom, and it was they have some thing that you can do where you can drive all the super big like construction equipment, like the big
Oh,
cranes
yeah.
and the big
Oh, yeah,
diggers
yeah.
and stuff. And she actually branched off from this away from the whole family by herself to go to the Mob Museum in
Nice.
Vegas. So when I told her that I could put her in front of Michael Franzese, she was like, holy smokes. She could not have been happier. So it was cool. It was cool to take her to that.
Now, I will say that I have to apologize to Neely.
Okay.
Your partner on the Classic Metal Show.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had met him before. Apparently, I met him like way back in my MMS days.
Okay. Well,
And
that was how long ago?
Oh, back then, I mean, he knew me. I was doing these body solutions commercials. It was
the blue
weight
drink
while you sleep.
Right, I remember.
And I had never even stuck my finger into stuff, but I shouldn't say that on the air. But I guess it's too late now. But I lost like 60 pounds thanks to diabetes. But I had never tried this stuff. But anyway, so I apparently met him back in the day during that, and I told him, I was like, dude, there's a lot of drinking that went on between that period of my life and today. So I apologize to him for not remembering that.
Right.
But then he did kind of say something, took a shot, I think.
Okay.
Because he was getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And, I was telling him, hey, it was great seeing you, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, just remember, we do a show that cannot be replaced.
Oh, well, he's always worrying that I'm going to leave.
And I kind of looked at him like, well, dude, I'm not trying to you guys do a totally different show than what you and I do. And I was like, whoa. I mean, if we got to take this to the streets of Lorraine, his suit is too nice to mess up. I might get a couple of shots in before,
right,
my leg falls off or something. But I was kind of like, is he like really mad at me for
no? I'm sure he was just jerking your chain a little bit, but and truthfully, probably more jerking my chain because he's always worried about me skipping town again. Because I did once. Because I did take 2 years off. So he's probably always worried that when I get going with too many things, that, he's gonna fucking leave again.
I told him, I said, you and I are Trump fans.
Yeah.
I was like, we should be friends and stuff like that. But yeah, he wasn't, he seemed a little standoffish towards me. And I was like, dude, there's a security guard here tonight, and he's going to have to separate us. I thought the one job that you were going to have to do is to separate me and Neely, of all people. Because he thought I was going to, I'm trying to slide into his show stuff.
Yeah, it was too funny, man. But no, he's not. He's
cool. He seemed like a cool guy.
He's harmless. He was thrilled to be there too, and his brother-in-law. We got his brother-in-law and his sister hooked up to meet Michael, so that was good too. So, yeah, I was everybody's friend over the weekend.
Tony Masaccio came out.
Saw him for 3.1 seconds.
Yeah, Tony's like the greatest at everything that he does. Because he's just quick. He's like a ninja. Yeah. He's a half Italian, half Jewish ninja. He got into there. Obviously, he came in and sat down and watched the show. Mm-hmm. But afterwards, he had a pass to go meet Michael.
Yeah.
But the way that they were doing it is they had VIP ticket people and then these badge people. We were badge people.
Yeah, we were badge people. Or you guys were.
So after the VIP ticket people went through, it was supposed to be the badge people.
Right.
Tony ends up slithering his way through the line of VIP ticket people, ended up boom. And ended up like right up front and met the guy in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got him right in there. So it was definitely funny, but it's funny because I had told Tony, I was like, just wait here for like 5 minutes because I was trying, I was organizing the line, so to speak, or trying to organize the line, and I'm organizing things and next thing I know, I turn around 6 minutes later to get Tony to introduce him to the guy, Chris. Tony is gone. Yeah. And I mean, I looked around, I went backstage. He wasn't anywhere. I found you and you were like, oh, he's gone. I was like, oh, all right. so much for that.
But it was nice. We're getting yelled at by the Flat Earth guy.
Oh, too bad.
Yeah, too bad. This is a adult show.
Yeah, I swear, dude. Sorry.
And so does everybody else.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a swearer. I'll try not to swear. How's that? I'll play nice today. I'll try not to swear.
And I hate to tell you, but most kids and grandkids that are listening most likely swear too. They just don't want you to know about it.
That's right.
I remember the first time my daughter swore. She's like, "Where'd you hear that from?" And she looked at me. She's like, "The womb." She's been hearing it for that long.
Nice.
It is what it is.
Nice. All right. Well, let's talk about a couple of quick stories here about the event before we get to Flat Earth Central here.
Yeah.
So they had me get there at 5:30. Or 5 o'clock, I was supposed to be there. I got there about 5:15 because I got stuck behind that stupid bridge, the drawbridge, and I had to wait for the drawbridge to go up and down.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I got over there about 15 minutes late. I go into the front foyer of the palace, and it's all dark. You can't really see anything. There's no one there except me and my mom. And, so we sat down, we found some chairs and we sat down and we were just waiting for Chris McNeil to come over because that's who I was supposed to meet. So I texted him that I was there. Okay, cool. I'll meet you in a few. Maybe 5 minutes later, this guy comes walking in. He's dressed like exactly what you would expect a mob guy to look like.
Yeah.
He looked kind of like, remember, what's his name? The limo driver for Stern.
Ronnie
the limo driver. He looked like Ronnie the limo driver, kind of. Same haircut, same look, but he's wearing the mob suit, right?
Right.
So I said to the guy, he walked in and walked out. Then he came back in and walked in again. And he goes, I just said to him, I said, "Hey, are you Chris McNeil?" And he goes, "Who, me?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "You don't worry about who I am. I know who I am. You don't want to know who I am." I was like, all right. So I'm thinking this guy's definitely with the crew or whatever, right? No, he was just some guy.
Some random dude.
Yeah, I saw him later in line for the meet and greet. He was just a guy. I mean, he may be a mob guy, but he might be a Cleveland mob guy. I don't know, but he wasn't with Francese's people or nothing. And I was like, all he had to do was tell me no. And he was just like, "You don't worry about who I am." All right, dude, easy. Take it easy. That's fine with me. So that was one thing. But the biggest funny thing was I did make the show late. I don't know if you were aware of that, but the reason the show started late was because of me. So at 5, when I met with Chris McNeil, he's like, "Okay, you're going to meet Michael and his crew by the stage door." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just kind of around the corner." So I said, "Okay." And I was like, "What time do I need to meet him?" He's like, "Go over there at 6:15. So I said, "Okay." So there was another guy named Dean, another really nice guy, Dean Garcia. Super nice and could not have been nicer to me, even though he was clearly annoyed with me. But he was the Michael's tour manager guy, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I texted Dean and I said, "I'll meet you at 6:15 at the stage door." Okay. So I get a text back, "What stage door?" So I hit him back and I said, "The stage door here at the palace." He goes, "Okay." That's it. He sent me the okay symbol, So I was like, all right, cool. So 6:15 comes, nobody. 6:30 comes, nobody. So I opened the stage door. I went to see if it was unlocked or something. And I opened the stage door to see if he was already in there. And I just missed him. I got over there, late or something.
Yeah.
Nobody was there. So I sat down in the green room, which was right next to the stage door.
Yeah.
And I sit down and I throw him a quick text. And I said, "I'm in the green room now." And that's it, right? And he sends me back a text that says, "Okay." So fair enough. So another 10, 15 minutes go by. Again, he had said okay, so I figured I'm supposed to meet him in the green room. Well, then I get a text from him, "Are you with Chris McNeil?" It's like, "No, he's out front." why? And he's like, because security never showed up. I was like, I am security. And he's like, oh. And he didn't say nothing back. And then he came over, like him and Michael came over, but McNeil came back. He's like, why are you here? I was like, you told me to be here. You told me to be here. But they came over 15 minutes late because they were waiting on me to go over there. But Chris had told me not to go over there, to go to the stage door. So it
Meanwhile, we're all sitting in the thing going, why is he late? Where's he at?
Exactly.
There was a problem. There's 18 cops here.
Well, that was kind of weird, too. So I'm sitting in the green room, and all of a sudden, 2 big burly cops come back, and they're doing like a sweep. They're like looking around, and who are you, and why are you here, and, where'd you get that badge? They asked me, where'd you get that badge? I was like, Chris McNeil. Oh, okay. And they were just kind of scoping the rooms and stuff, and, just making sure it was safe, I guess.
All in all, it was a hell of an event.
Oh, it was fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about anything. The only security I had to do really the whole night, especially since I didn't go to the hotel, the only security I did the whole night was keeping some lunatics away from Michael's wife.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Michael's wife was sitting like you. Everybody had to come in through up some steps and through a door, and there was a little thing on the side. There was like a little, I don't know what you call it, an alcove or something that was there on the side. And so as people were coming in, she was sitting right there. Like she had a chair right there. And she was just trying to stay out the way and hand Michael books when he ran, when they needed more books. That's what she was doing. But basically she was just staying out of the way. And sure enough, every lunatic that came in, because he introduced her at one point on the stage. Yeah. So then every lunatic in there saw her and wanted to say hello to her and whatever, give her a hug or shake her hand or whatever. So at one point, I just kind of walked over by her because I saw that she just kept getting hounded by these people that were jumping out of line. We were having a hell of a time getting everybody in line.
Right.
And part of it was because they were jumping out of line to shake her hand or say hello to her. So finally, I just stepped in there. And I said, "You want me to shoo these people away?" And she was like, she didn't say yes, but she sort of said yes. You know what I mean? She was just kind of like, yeah. I was like, all right. So I did. So I started that's when I started with the VIP passes, go this way, badges, go that way.
Well, it was a hell of a night, but we do have some stories that actually he talked about and stuff that I'd love to talk about on this show, but we're not going to talk about it on this show.
No.
That's going to be extra.
That's right.
You're going to have to go to the Odyssey channel and you're going to sign up for the silver package.
Yeah, the Seth Silver.
Seth Silver.
That's right.
Less than a cup of coffee, and you can get all the extra bonus footage, but we have some very interesting stuff that he talked about, including some JFK stuff, which I thought was very, very interesting.
I thought that was probably the most interesting part of the night, I thought, of the whole. The speech was great, by the way. I know we haven't even talked about that even 2 seconds, but if and when he comes back, which from everything we heard, he is going to be coming back.
Yeah.
When he comes back, anybody that has any interest at all in this stuff has to go to this thing, because I've been to a few speaking things, not a ton, but 4 or 5 things in my life. This was by far the best one.
It was great.
It was great. I mean, he does go off on tangents a little bit. Yeah. I would say you left-leaning people may not want to go as quickly as you right-leaning people. Yeah. He definitely, even my mom, who is kind of left-leaning, she was like, I don't know why he went off on that tangent.
Well, he was asked a question, but
but he did launch.
Yeah, but we'll talk about all that stuff on Odyssey.
Absolutely.
We got to get to Flat Earth because I see Flat Earth guy and I see Erik is going crazy. So we gotta do this. I want to take a quick break though.
Okay.
Not too far behind, and then we'll get to the Flat Earth.
All right.
Hang on. Hey, it's Seth, and I appreciate you watching today. And you can make a difference. For just $4.99 a month, you can help save someone's life today. It really does count. Every dollar matters. And you can change someone's life. Not these ridiculous dogs. Those are actor dogs. I'm talking about myself and Chris Aiken. I could barely afford a shave and a haircut, or sleeves on a shirt sometimes. We could use your assistance today. Just go to the Odyssey app. Go to the Odyssey website, ODYSEE. Just $4.99 a month can change the world for someone today. Myself and Chris Aiken. We'll give you extra content. We'll give you bonus footage. We'll give you new episodes. Subscribe to the Odyssey channel today. Thank you.
Hey everybody, it's Don Dockin. When I'm feeling nostalgic, I always go to Pinball PA. You gotta go check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Stop what you're doing and start making memories at Pinball PA, located at 2284 Broadhead Road, Suite 10B in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. We have over 420 video games and pinball machines to play, and all games are set to free play, so no quarters or tokens are needed. Pinball PA is open 6 days a week, and is the best and most affordable entertainment spot in all of Western Pennsylvania. Check out our website at www.pinballpa.com for more details. Come visit Pinball PA today. Initials up.
Guarantees and Signs has become your complete one-stop sign shop. Call Jimmy at 216-299-9344. Their friendly and professional staff can and will help you build your company brand and identity from start to finish. One stop means you get a complete package from one location. Custom logo design, vehicle graphics, banners, t-shirts, storefront marquees, and so much more. Guarantees and Signs, 4883 Turney Road. Call us at 216-299-9344.
Welcome back to the Seth Williams Show. Chris Aiken. My wife got me sick, dude.
Well, that's no good.
That's no good, man.
Are you sure it wasn't from shaking 4,000 hands at the Franzese thing?
It could be that too, but yeah, all of a sudden I got this cold thing going on.
Oh, wait, we didn't even show the photo.
Hey, look at that.
There we are. There's me and you with MICHAEL FRANZESE. How cool is that?
Some fine, handsome fellows.
Yeah, and then us.
All my wife kept saying on the way home was, man, he's 72 years old and he's really, really good looking. I'm like, okay, you haven't told me one time in like a month that you like the way that I look, and you're telling me 1,400 times that the 72-year-old mafia guy is good looking. Thank you, honey. Appreciate it.
Well, he's made $1 billion. You haven't.
Hell,
I think he's good looking with that resume. Jesus.
Yeah, I'd probably do him with that kind of cash. It's game on.
Well, he made it clear how he stands with that.
Yeah, he did make it.
You'll hear all about that on Odyssey as well.
Odyssey will have that story, and yeah, there are people that are not too happy, which we'll explain. All right, it's flat Earth time, man.
That's right.
We got to bring up Erik first. Erik.
Oh, hey guys!
How are you, my friend?
You're never gonna believe this.
What?
I'm up in lower Earth orbit right now. I'm looking down at Earth, and behold, it's not a spinning globe like they told us. It's stationary.
All right, see, the sad part is he's not joking, people.
He's not joking.
You think Earth is flat. So let's introduce these two, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Plain Truth Guy, otherwise known as Flat Earth Guy. Where are you? There he is. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing very well. My name is actually Minister Michael, and that's why I want to get out the swear jars for you guys. But I love you.
Well, we're effing great here, Michael.
You might need a swear shipping container for me.
It's all good. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Chris yet, but I tried to Saturday night as I was entertained by Mike Franzese.
Yeah.
Actually, I was enjoying that very much.
Yeah, I sorry I didn't get to meet you. The only times that I actually did have to work were before and right before he ended. I had to go back to it. So by the time I ran into Seth and he told me that you were there, I was already up on the stage doing my thing. So
absolutely, you were working, and I figured it was going to be another 2 hours. There were at least 100 people that had the VIP tickets that wanted to shake his hand, and if each one of them had a question, I'm sure you were there very, very late.
I got out of there at I think 11:45.
Yeah.
I mean,
that makes sense.
Late. It was
sure,
and I think he finished talking at what 8:30 or 9 or something.
It was like 9, something like that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Real quick, Chris. I forgot. Explain who Erik Ferentinos is to my audience, because my audience obviously.
Hi, Erik.
How you doing, Michael?
Outstanding.
Erik is the lead guitar player for Stephen Pearcy of Rat.
Nice.
But more importantly, probably even more than you, Michael.
I doubt
Erik believes it all. Erik believes it all. He studies it. How many years did you say you've been studying this?
Almost a decade.
Almost
a decade, but it's something that I've personally always scratched my head about, even as a young boy, 8, 9 years old. Just simple things, looking at the ocean and how flat it looked, and just starting to ask questions. But all of us, I'm sure Michael will explain, the indoctrination that we go through as young people with the globe, and they kind of build our reality for us, and we just assume that they're telling us the truth.
Well, that's a big part of it. Another thing is that this goes back, centuries, millennia. And so I did my research all the way back. I'm a biblical scholar. And so what I'm going to be talking about today is biblical cosmology, and specifically the origins. So for me, the origin is creation, and no one knows what he created better than God himself. And so I use scripture to as truth. This is what he created, and it's never been disproven.
All right, so let me lay down a little bit of ground rules before we get started. I want respect, unlike the last time that you were on, Michael. And I also, we have to keep it moving. We only got an hour and a half here. So, I mean, it's not like we got 6 hours to get through 500 slides, and, we're not going to go out to the backyard, start lifting weather balloons up and trying to figure out where they're going. We need to get an hour and a half condensed.
I'm already up here, Seth. I'm already up here.
You already got it. So we just need to keep it moving and keep it condensed and go. So there we go. And Chris has your slides ready to go.
Yeah, Chris. I actually added a few, so I have a little transition here.
Okay.
But I wanted to start with remembering Triv. The whole thing with the flat Earth, me being the flat Earth guy, is because Mike Trevisano and I got to meet. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just open in prayer.
Sure.
So, Father, there are so many people who have ears but cannot hear. They have eyes but cannot see. Lord Jesus, open the eyes of their hearts and reveal your truth into their mind, will, and emotions, that they may know you, the author and perfecter of our faith. Holy Spirit, give me the words to convey the truth and love. With all the intercessors, we are praying that our understanding will not be clouded by the lies, deceptions of our enemy, the devil, and that Jesus will get all the glory. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So, my whole thing is I hate being lied to. And I've had loved ones that are lied to, and they believe things that just aren't true. Erik, you mentioned that, since you were, knee-high to a grasshopper, you questioned. So on March 10th, 2021, my brother and I did not see eye to eye on biblical cosmology. He challenged me to document proof, so I compiled 80 pages. In April, I gave them to him, and he later claimed that he couldn't understand anything that I'd shared with him.
Sure.
Well, now I have 1,000 pages, and my brother still doesn't understand it. Okay? So as I was driving home that day, I was listening to the Triv show, and he asked if anyone could give a genuine perspective on the flat Earth. And I prayed to God, and he told me that Triv was my assignment. I said, okay, Lord. And I found a way to reach out to Triv via the Smokin' Rock and Roll food truck that was honoring the heroes and, our heroes in blue, red, and green, the police, fire, and first responders. And Seth, I know that you were the first person I talked to about that. But at that food truck, there was a person that I met there. He was a fellow Marine. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and his name is Gunny Terry. He works with Dave Mortosh. And he had just had knee surgery, and he was in tremendous pain. Well, I had something that could help him. Same thing with you, Seth. I noticed that you were sneezing at the beginning of the show. Yeah. I got something that can clear that up in 1 second. So anyway, I missed Triv, and I gave the 20 pages to Seth, mostly pictures. And I went to the next event and found Billy Morris sore from a motocross racing incident with his shoulder. And I challenged him with something that works in seconds. And Billy tried it. And, for himself, I'm not a doctor. He actually, put the stuff on himself, and he was amazed that it worked. So Seth told me that the pages that I'd given him were on Triv's desk, and I knew what that meant. They're one step from the circular file, right? So the next event, God opened the door. Triv was having a conversation with Billy Morris. Billy turns around, sees me, and bursts into thanksgiving about all the benefits he's having. His shoulder's great. He's feeling wonderful. And I could see the questionable look on Triv's, unmistakable face. He's like, who is this guy, right? So I waited for the perfect opportunity with Triv having food in his mouth, so he couldn't say anything. And I put one page in front of him with 36 declassified government documents. And Triv says, I am going to make you famous. He introduced me as the Flat Earth guy. Again, my name is Minister Michael. I'm a minister for Jesus, but I'm a watchman, a witness, and a warrior for the Lord. And we did the Triv show with Travis Mills on August 9, 2021. Seth, you said it was unbelievable. But on October 20th of that year, I was listening to Triv, and Triv finally got it. As only Triv could, he says he wants to interview God. So I seized that moment as an open door, and I text Triv, and I said, I have God's phone number. Immediately, my phone rings. Triv calls me up. And we have a divinely appointed conversation with Triv wanting to do a show on this. And I had finally completed my assignment. You see, I didn't tell you, but back in March, when Triv was asking for that, God said that Triv was my assignment. And God told me at that time that Triv was going to die within 2 years. Triv died 8 days after our 20-minute conversation. Wow. Friends, we are in warfare against demonic strongholds in media, education, government, even in the churches. And it's time for us to take a stand. It's time for us to seek truth.
Great.
So, Erik, I think you can see the screen here. Some people think that they're Christians, but they trust in modern science. And you can see from all the different places in history.
We do not see your screen.
You cannot see this.
Are you talking about behind you, just the map that you have behind you?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I thought I flipped over here. So let me see if I did or not. Oh, no, I did not. Here we go.
There we go. We can see that.
Oh, here we go. So I apologize. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Remembering Triv. And
I'm going to remember Triv with the sip right now.
There you go. Well, I think his was what, the blue label?
Yeah,
Johnny Walker Blue?
Johnny Walker Blue.
That it is. Okay. So if you can, take a look here at what I've got here. And I just have a few, Chris, before, what you're going into. But, right. Basically, if you're a Christian and you trust modern science over the Bible, there's issues. And one of the characters here is McCater. McCater actually made a map that's in all the schools, and the map is so wrong, it's unbelievable. Right. But, the Bible says that my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And because they have rejected knowledge, God is going to reject them. The biggest problem I have when I talk about the flat earth is this. People answer the matter before they hear the facts, and it's folly to them. It's shame to them. And Einstein even said this: condemnation without investigation is the height of ignorance. So these foolish people have a condition, and fortunately, Seth, it's not contagious. And that's cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is real simple. This is why people get upset when their beliefs are challenged, like we had the last time I was on. There's a mental conflict that occurs when beliefs are contradicted by new information. This conflict activates areas of the brain that involve personal identity and emotional responses to threats. The brain alarms go off when a person feels threatened and on a deeply personal emotional level, causing them to shut down and disregard any rational evidence that contradicts what they previously regarded as truth. People, we're seeing this not just in biblical cosmology. We're seeing this where people don't know what gender they are. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. So Satan went too far. He crossed the line, and he's now attacking our kids. Enough is enough. We as American patriots need to stand, and it's time to choose God. So I just wanted to, share with you guys, and this will be the last point before we get hard into the biblical cosmology. And that is this, I want to give you an opportunity to choose to accept God's invitation to be in his family. We talked to Michael, and he talked about the family. He talked about the blood oath. Guys, the mafia didn't invent this. This was invented from the foundation of the world. God didn't create us just to make us. He created us to have a family. And what Satan wants to do is he wants to destroy the family. He's destroyed marriage. He's destroying gender. He's destroying everything that he can. And unfortunately, most people are buying into it. So I'm a sinner, okay? And the Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. But the wages that sin pays is death. And even Michael talked about this. That lifestyle ends in destruction. Families are destroyed. Well, God has an answer for that. And in John 3, Jesus says this, I assure you most solemnly, I say to you, unless a person is born again, that is spiritually transformed, renewed, he cannot see or even enter or experience the kingdom of God. So as many as did receive him, who welcomed Jesus, he gave them the right to become children of God. That is, to those who believe, trust in, rely on, and adhere to his name. Those who are born, they're not born of blood, they're not born of natural conception, and they're not born of the will of the flesh, which is physical impulses, but they are born, and because they're not born of man, of a natural father, but they are born of God, and that is a divine supernatural birth. So Jesus says that he is the way, the only way to God, and the real truth, and the real life, and no one comes to the Father but through him. Because if I acknowledge and confess with my mouth that Jesus is Lord, and I believe in my heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For with the heart, a person believes, resulting in justification, and with the mouth, he acknowledges and confesses, resulting in confirming his salvation. For the scripture says, whoever believes in him will not be disappointed. And finally, in Revelation 3:20, Jesus says to this, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him, I will eat with him, and I will be with him. Guys, the prayer is simply this. Father, thank you for the free gift of eternal life. I know that I'm a sinner. I know that I need your forgiveness, and I am sorry for all my past sin, and I ask you to forgive me. Jesus, I believe that you died on the cross for my sins and arose from the dead. I now open the door of my heart to invite you in to come into my life. I realize that there is nothing I can do to earn my salvation, and I place my complete trust in you alone for eternal life. I choose to follow you as my Lord, Savior, and King, and please make me the person that you want me to be. Gentlemen, I thank you for allowing me to do that. Chris, if you don't mind, the first track, I believe, on the conspiracy side is a must-watch video. If you could play just the first 5.22 of that, Behind the Curve, I think that'll explain everything.
Where's that?
Oh, it's Mark Sargent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I don't have the video.
So it's going to be number 1.
Is this
on the conspiracy side? Yeah, the ultimate conspiracy, ultimate CIA.
Well, shit. Of
Swear
course
jar.
it won't play.
Swear
Of course
jar.
it won't. Yeah, I know. Throw me in a swear jar.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So I
Also
sent
known
you
as
two.
Flat Earth Clues.
Yes. So what happened is a documentary was made, and you can watch the whole documentary. I just wanted to show the first 5 minutes of it because they did such a phenomenal job on explaining it, and I wanted people to know it's not just me. Erik, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure you have a lot to share. But the thing is, it's more than just two people. It's not just Kyrie Irving or Shaq or some of these outward people. These are professional people who have taken the time and did the work and presented it in a format that is easy to understand, and actually won some awards as a documentary. So I believe that's under the ultimate.
2015. This came out in 2015.
Yeah. And I want to say it's the ultimate conspiracy proven true.
YouTube.
It should be slide 1.
Let me go to slide 1 here.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can actually, click onto that, because that's really what we're trying to do.
Yeah, it's not letting me click on it. Hold on, I'll find it. What's the title of the video? Because I'll find it real quick.
Well, it's Behind the Curve, and it's a documentary.
It's Behind the Curve or under Flat Earth Clues.
Yeah.
Behind the Curve.
And the problem is that you got to get the right one, because there's a lot of bad ones out there that aren't it. Let me see if I can do it. We'll hit it from 2 sides here.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, because when Mark Sargent made this, he didn't put any license on it, and he allowed it to be shared and duplicated. And so now it's been shared, probably hundreds of millions of times. But he started out as a video game tester, if you will.
Okay.
And it was around 2015 that he ended up he was into conspiracies and whatnot, and there was only one conspiracy left that he hadn't really looked into, and it was Flat Earth. And he really couldn't debunk it because most people go by NASA, or what we've been shown in our generation, the Apollo missions and so forth. But as those started to crumble, the narrative with Apollo and stuff, he wasn't really able to debunk it. He couldn't debunk it without using NASA, and he had some phenomenal proofs in this documentary. But what Michael wants to show is
I've got it, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good start because it kind of explains why they would lie about this
and how they did it. And like I said, it's just the first 5 minutes, but again, I couldn't do it better.
Right.
All right. Well, let's play the first 5 minutes.
Fair enough.
Here we go.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw the light that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Flat Earth has long been touted as the mother of all conspiracy theories, suppressed and ridiculed for centuries as being an ignorant, unscientific worldview. But the facts of the matter are far from what you've been told. It is a fact, not a theory, that bodies of water always seek and find their own level. From a pond, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water is to find and remain level. It is a fact that the majority of Earth is covered in such level water, thus making it an unscientific theory to postulate that Earth is actually a gigantic sphere with bendy oceans curving all the way around it. It is an unproven, unscientific theory with no observable, measurable, or repeatable evidence to claim that bodies of water can somehow bend, cling to the exterior of shapes, and show convexity upon their surface. It is a fact, not a theory, that we are able to observe objects at incredibly long distances, far beyond what would be possible if Earth were a globe 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. For example, it is a fact that in Genoa, Italy, from just above sea level, it is possible to see the distant islands of Elba, Caprea, and Corsica 80 to 125 miles away. It is a necessary theory that the globe Earth must curve 8 inches per mile squared if it really be a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. But based on such a theory, these islands would all be completely hidden behind thousands of feet of curved Earth. It is a fact, not a theory, that the horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon as high as we can reach, over 20 miles or 120,000 feet up. It is an observable, testable, repeatable, scientific fact of reality that Polaris, the North Pole star, situated perfectly over the North Pole center of Earth, never moves a single inch. Night after night, year after year, century after century, with all the other fixed stars remaining fixed in their relative constellations, revolving perfect circles around Polaris. It is also an unobservable, unscientific theory to claim that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour, and the Milky Way shoots millions of miles per hour more off through infinite space, when we cannot see, hear, feel, or otherwise observe or prove any such motion. And we can see clearly for ourselves Polaris never moving, and all the other stars revolving around it. This is just a brief introduction to the many observable, testable, repeatable scientific facts of our level, motionless plain Earth that have been suppressed and ridiculed for centuries in favor of various unobservable, untestable, unscientific theories purporting we live on a tilting, wobbling, spinning, ball-shaped Earth. To learn much more about this most important and highly censored topic, please follow the links in the description box.
That's good, guys. That's awesome. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. So, I appreciate taking the time to show that because, Triv figured out I wasn't crazy. I actually have a pretty intelligent guy. And Erik, God bless you. You're doing this research for a long time and you understand what I'm sharing. So at the end of the day, we're trying to understand biblical cosmology. Biblical meaning coming from the Bible, cosmology, the study of the universe. And what I want to do is, I got to find my mouse here. It's hiding. There it is. Okay. So let's start. So what you have, because I want people to understand the flat Earth model, you have the heliocentric. I'm sorry?
Don't see it.
Oh, you don't? Oh, I apologize again. Thank you again for telling me that.
No problem.
There we go.
It is.
So what we have are two conflicting models. One is the heliocentric model. The other is the geocentric. Now, both of these world models are viable. That is, they are mathematically possible. However, the heliocentric model claims that the Earth is spinning at 1,038 miles an hour around the equator. The geocentric model is in agreement with the scriptures. So I just show here the Big Bang Theory and evolution because everyone knows the heliocentric model. We don't have to rehash that. But God's account of creation is 6 days. So the question is, as Mark shared, are we spinning or rotating? Okay, and perhaps the hidden message is in the orbit of the Earth around the sun. It just happens to be 666. Now, you can talk about coincidences, but the Earth is revolving around the sun, according to science, at 66.6 thousand miles per hour. Now, that the Earth is stationary and non-rotating, one has to be true, the other must be false. And the question is, why is it that only one theory is primarily taught in our schools. And that theory happens to be the false one. All right, so I apologize.
Let me interject something real fast.
Sure,
I
go
was
for it.
mistaken. I was mistaken thinking Behind the Curve was Mark Sargent. I thought that was going to be Flat Earth Clues, and it wasn't. It's a different one. So
yeah, I think it was
another
a certain project that was on there. It stated who it was, and thank you for that. But Mark Sargent has also done some tremendous work, and I'm actually going to, in a later slide, thank the people where I got this information from, because again, I'm not inventing this stuff. I'm presenting it. So, I don't want people to be gullible. Okay. If you saw the movie Maverick, you see, the F-16s, rolling, and those actors were not kidding. They were actually in those planes, and you can see the G-forces. So here is, an F-16, guy in there at 1,000 miles per hour, and look at the expression on his face. Okay. He's pulling some serious G's, yet in low Earth orbit, they're not even in outer space. Okay. The ISS is going 17,500 miles an hour, and the guy's basically in front of a green screen. Okay.
With the Millennium Falcon.
There you go. So if you look at the screen here, you'll see the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. And basically it's showing on the globe model where these things are, okay? At the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere around June 21st, and that's when I took this, okay? The sun attains its greatest declination north and is directly over the Tropic of Cancer. So again, if you look at this, the question is, why was sunrise at 8:50, sunset at like 9-something in Cleveland, Ohio, okay? And in Puerto Rico, if I can show you that. Anyway, in Puerto Rico, they had less daylight. And the globe model doesn't give you a real answer for that. So here you'll see that the globe, it's the foundation for evolution, which has never been proven. The Big Bang Theory, which has never been proven. Atheism, alien series, right, they're theories, okay? Alien seedlings, okay? Paganism, the occult, the New World Order, and satanic world control. So most people don't want to admit that they've been indoctrinated from birth. Again, here's a mobile, above a crib. Right. And the heliocentric model is very easy to understand. Any fourth grader can understand concentric circles. However, even as children, the globe has been a constant tool for both known deceptions and lies. And here, this is the Mercator map. I showed you Mercator in The Scientist. If you look at Greenland, Greenland is the same size as Africa. So you can see that in the Mercator map, okay? But in actuality, Greenland can fit into Africa almost 14 times. Neil deGrasse Tyson, he doesn't know what the Earth looks like. He says that, well, we think the Earth is a sphere, but no, it's a oblate spheroid, and now it's egg-shaped. It looks like a pear, okay? These things can't be all true. So I ask people this question: what is your source of truth? If your source of truth is man, then I have official government documents from agencies from the United States, CIA, NASA, FAA, U.S. Army, U.S. Air Force, United Kingdom. I can also look into true scientific method experiments from the Royal Astronomical Society, MIT, Harvard, Case Western, USSR. And if your ultimate authority is God, well, I have that too. My source, because I always want to identify where I'm coming from, my source of truth is the unaltered Bible.
All right, I'm going to stop you right here for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Because
absolutely.
I'm guessing on this, but I don't think Erik is spiritual based in his belief system.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go to Erik, and I want to know where he gets his logic from.
Oh, please. Well, thank you.
No, I mean, I don't go to church, but I still have a spiritual connection and a higher power. And,
Amen.
And I absolutely believe that this planet that we live on was intelligently designed and created. And I know that's difficult for a lot of people to accept. And it's also just the term flat earth. The word flat is very difficult for a lot of normal people to understand, because they're seeing mountains and they're seeing valleys, and it's difficult for them. But if you were to envision, if I had a big table and I had a bunch of clay put on it, I could make flat places and pull out basins for oceans, and I could make mountains, and and so forth. I mean, it could all be built on a flat surface.
And let's be honest here, guys. The government continues to try to indoctrinate people as we go on. Look at the past 2-3 years of our lives. I'm not going to get into shots and all that kind of stuff, but the government takes control and tells you what to do, and they make you believe stuff sometimes that isn't true. They've done it for a very long time, and now they're just doing it openly. But I think that when it comes to this, they may have been doing it for a long time.
Seth, you're absolutely right. And the thing is, we have to study. I tell people, don't believe anything that I say. Do your own research, but please don't just believe the lie. And so I'm going to show you here up on the screen. Let me put it up there. This is there are 6 experiments that have been done. They've never been disproven, and all of them prove that the Earth isn't spinning. Here's one of them. This was done at Case Western Reserve University. Okay, this is the Michelson-Morley experiment of 1870. I believe it was 1871. Okay, and he actually won the Nobel Peace Prize for this in 1907. But basically, what he did is he shot light through mirrors, and he did that at every single degree that you can, and found that there was no difference. And if there's no difference, we're not spinning. Right. Okay, but again, that's just one. Going a little bit further, because I think we're on the same, the same tangent. Here are the 10 flattest places on Earth. And the question is this, or the challenge I put. For all the places on the Earth that are flat, and we agree that these are flat places, there must be places on Earth that have excessive curve, and there aren't any. This is insane. I'm not gonna read these. I'm just gonna go through them. But the Everglades National Park in Florida. Okay, the entire state of Kansas was considered to be as flat as a pancake. Well, IHOP went out there in 2003, and you know what they said? It's flatter than a pancake. Okay, right. You have the. I'm not going to be able to pronounce these, but this one's called the Gateway to Hell. Okay, you have the Bolivian salt flats, and this is really important. You're talking about 10,000 square kilometers, right, of flatness. Okay, it's unbelievable.
That would be a lumpy looking globe. That would be a lumpy looking globe.
Erik, you're hitting it on the head. You're understanding, but again, you know this stuff. The Maldives Islands, the Bonneville Salt Flats here in Utah. I mean, we call the Great Plains of the United States the Great Plains because they're flat, and that's why I call myself the Plain Truth Guy. Plain, Plane. It's flat. Okay, and we can go on to this lake. This lake is amazing because it covers 23,000 cubic kilometers in Russia. Okay, and when it freezes, it's a perfect mirror. It's just, these places are flat. Okay.
Let me ask a question because
sure.
I'm starting to get lost.
Okay, I apologize. Go ahead.
No, and that's okay. And it could just be that I'm dumb and I don't get this, but
no,
I'm looking. What I see missing in this conversation is depth. I see
beautiful
the flatness. I see the roundness, but I don't see depth.
Well, Chris, we've
hold on, Erik. Hold on for 1 second. Hold on,
Chris. Look at the screen. That was my next slide.
Well, I'm gonna do my practical example here.
Go for it.
To try and ease up before we get into the slide again.
Okay.
Here in my hand is a drink. I'm gonna put it on.
Yay!
Here's a drink.
It looks like water.
Yeah, pretty much. But if I tip it sideways, it's still flat.
Uh-huh.
But there's a different depth that allows it to stay flat, even though it's not a flat. The bottle itself is not flat. It's it's more rectangular, I guess, but it's got rounded corners and stuff on it. So how would it stay if the depth wouldn't? Are we not accounting for depth?
We are, but just remember, water always finds its level, and what you have in that container is what we call a basin. Okay. So there has to be a basin for which the water to fill, and that's why in the flat Earth model we have that there's a great ice wall that encompasses the Earth, and that is the basin, and I can show you pictures of that as well. But just understand, you're hitting the nail on the head. You're understanding. You're asking. You're engaging, and the thing is this. There is no bulge in water. So water, when you look at a level, it doesn't have a bulge, in it. And they're saying that in the globe model, there has to be a bulge, and there isn't.
Right. Between
So-
San Diego and Hawaii, there should be like a 20,000 foot bulge of water that if you were in a plane flying over, you would notice that, where all of a sudden, hey, doesn't it look like the ocean's getting closer to the plane? You know.
Now, see, I know where there's a bulge.
Very good.
No, you
Now,
don't.
you have to browse for that, okay? And the thing is, there's no arousal here for Earth.
Ask my wife. There is no bulge. Sorry.
So if you look at the screen, what I'm showing is this. How much water?
Not on there.
Thank you for telling me that again, because I keep on forgetting to switch to transition. There we go. All righty. So how much water is on Earth? Now, this is from NASA Space Place, okay? And this is August of 2022. 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, okay? That's fine. The Earth is the only planet known to have water in all three phases, gas, liquid, and solid, and it never disappears as it's perfectly recycled. If you look at what's below that spinning fake globe, is the abyssal plains. Now, the abyssal plain is the underwater plain. You were talking about depth. It's the underwater plain on the deep ocean floor. It's usually around the depths of 3,000 to 6,000 meters, or 10 to 19,000 feet. It's lying generally between the foot of the continental rise and the mid-Atlantic ridge. All right, the abyssal plain covers over 52% of the Earth's surface. Here's the math. If 71% of the Earth is covered by water, and 52% of that is flat-bottomed, then 35% of the Earth is completely flat. I don't see that in the globe model at all. Erik, what do you think?
Well, I agree, and more so, there is a calculation that they've put forth to determine what the curvature should be, and it's 8 inches per mile squared. Now,
Correct.
when you do the math of looking between two distances, some notable ones on the Chicago skyline.
Yeah, Rob Skiba.
From Michigan, from the shores of Michigan, you shouldn't be able to see that, but on a clear day, you do. It should be obscured by the curvature. So
hold on. Let me just ask one quick question on that.
Sure.
Are we positive that the level that they're at looking across is truly level and not on,
you have to account for how you're, that's a great question.
Higher mountain.
You have to say where you're at. Like for me here, I live in Oceanside. I'm right at the beach, but when I'm in my condo, I probably am about 30 feet up. And so if I was doing the calculation, which these calculators are available if you Google them, you get a flat Earth calculator.
And I have them here. Right. I have it in the presentation.
Oh, great. Okay. Like where I live on a clear day, I could see Catalina Island that's like 60 miles away, and I see it in its entirety. And there's another island that appears on some days called San Clemente Island. I shouldn't really be able to see these. They should be obscured, and they're not.
But again, you're looking down on them, right? Because you said that you're up.
Chris, Chris, here's the thing, okay? No matter where you are on a globe, you're always looking down. Or you're always looking up, because again, it's a ball. Right. Okay. But that's not, we do have the calculations. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I did is I went a step further. Not that Erik didn't go far enough, but I talked to a meteorologist here in Cleveland who's in the Meteorological Hall of Fame. Okay. And again, what they're trying to say is, well, that's refraction. Okay. So again, they have a reason for this. However, Rob Skiba chartered a boat from Michigan and had his camera set. And he went all the way to the shore of Chicago, and there was no I just called that. Well, not just curvature. There was no refraction.
Refraction, right.
Okay. So here's why I gave you the second set, which is the Tale of Two Summits. Okay. Because what happened to me is I wanted a verification from NASA. And a guy from NASA who's an engineer for them came to me, and the first words out of his mouth, if you're going to talk to me about the flat Earth, you're crazy. Okay, show me laser evidence. And I said, I have laser evidence. He hasn't spoken to me since. So I want to present the laser evidence for the world to see, because here it is, and you're going to love it. Okay, so here's the Tale of Two Summits as seen from a flat Earth, from a flat map on Google Earth, which is the one that's on the right. Okay, now this is year Watfa. Okay, that's in Northern Wales, United Kingdom. And here's what you're talking about, Chris, and a very good point. its elevation is 3,560 feet. Okay, so if you're standing on top of that mountain, add 6 feet to that because that would be where your eyesight is. Okay, and the other is southeastward of that, and it's Mont Blanc in France. It's on the Italian border, and its elevation is 15,773 feet above. So again, it's higher than. But if you look at the left, you see the map of England. You see where Wales is. It's in the northern part of Wales. And if you look down here at France and you see where Italy is, it's that far away. You're talking over 700 miles. Okay? So that is significant. More significant than some of the other things that we've been shown. But let me go here. Okay, and see if that works. I have it switched, right? No, it's on me?
It's on you.
It's on you.
Okay, so we're on the map. Here we go. So, page 2, here we go. Okay, this is just saying that Mont Blanc is exactly 15,774 feet. You know, I didn't just pull that out of my you-know-what. Here's a picture of the other mountain, okay? And if you look to the right, you'll see that it's actually, there's a lake that's, you know, beneath it. And again, these are real pictures. Here again is the Google map. Okay. Now, what they're doing is going from that mountain, they're hitting these different mountain ranges there, but I'm highlighting Mont Blanc. And again, it's showing with a laser that it's 701 miles away. Okay. So here's what you were talking about, Chris, where you say, well, what about the surface of the earth beneath it? You know, where are all the mountains? And here you can see the mountain as a topographical map on the bottom, and I guess it's pink. Okay, so again, it's fairly flat between the two mountain peaks. But here's the Earth curvature map that Erik was talking about. Here it is. So when you take into consideration the height of the first mountain with the height of the second mountain, you wind up, with 46.5 miles of below the horizon. That mountain range in Italy should be 46.5 miles below the curvature of the Earth. Okay? Now, here again we're showing, but again, this is Google math. Okay? No big deal. Here's the photograph. When you use a modern technology, we have like the Nikon 900, the Nikon 1000.
P900, yeah.
P900, thank you. You can actually see beyond what the human eye can see. But here it is, 700 miles away, 709 miles away, 863 miles away. Guys, I'm not making this stuff up.
Right.
Okay? Here it is again, looking at the topographical map. Here is a zoom in. There's no refraction. Refraction happens over water. There's no bodies of water here. You saw it. It's land. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
God's creation. Look at that. Okay? So here's another world record photo from 700 miles away. Guys, our Earth is flat.
Right. We see too much.
Okay? Yeah, it's CGI. Okay, but you look at this. This is amazing. And again, photographs don't do it justice. Your natural eye looking through that camera will see this much more clearly, and then you can zoom in on your own. Anyway, I wanted to share this. I've got so many other, proofs that we can. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to open it up for questions. And I'm going to be sincere here. I have the data. The thing is, it may take me some time to compile it, but if people have questions, I will answer them either, now, or, you guys can help answer them, or I will get back to them, with the answer, just like I did here. I will do it, and I'll gladly.
Before we go to the questions and all that kind of stuff, I want to take a quick break. Is that all right?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bless you guys.
Hang on.
There's no place like home, and whether it's furniture, artwork, home accessories, appliances, or that one-of-a-kind collectible, Yellow Brick Road Online Auctions allows you to find everything you need from the comfort of your own home. The owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions has been conducting online estate auctions for over 8 years by providing homeowners with a stress-free process to liquidate all items that have accumulated over the years.
I'm Melissa Mendici, owner of Yellow Brick Road Auctions. Log on today to find your heart's desire.
Hey, it's Seth from Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road in the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center right next to Big Lots. You got to check out Mario, man. Great guy, does a lot for charities, but can perform miracles with hair. He even made me look clean cut. does my hair, does a great job. Love talking to the guy while I'm sitting there. It's a great place to go, local business. You gotta go to Mario's Barbershop in Parma. Mario's Barbershop in Parma, 7526 Broadview Road. Again, in Parma, Pleasant Valley Shopping Center, right next to Big Lots. Or give them a call, 216-520-1977. That's 216-520-1977, Mario's Barbershop in Parma.
Trust Joe's Lakewood Computer at 14035 Madison in Lakewood. They have over 30 years of professional service handling laptop and desktop repair services, virus removal, and data migration, and much more. You can trust them with hardware updates to your computer's memory and hard drive. Call 216-651-3880. Whether you need a simple Windows install or you're interested in the latest computers for gaming, call Joe's Lakewood Computer at 216-651-3880.
This is Tim Elkhorn, radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, for attorney Will Spiegelberg. Will Spiegelberg is not only a name you know, he's someone you can trust as your attorney, no matter the circumstance. Will Spiegelberg is an attorney you can always count on. Will Spiegelberg is the attorney you should contact for all your legal work. When you need an attorney, call Will Spiegelberg at 216-233-4240. Attorney Will Spiegelberg, a great teammate. 216-233-4240.
Right back here at the Seth Williams Show on the CMS Network with Chris Aiken, of course, Erik Ferentinos, Rockstar. I'm a big fan. And, of course,
only on the weekends.
Plain truth guy, flat earth guy, pastor,
minister.
All right, we're taking questions on the flat earth.
I have two while we wait for them. Go ahead.
There's one.
Go ahead.
How thick is the flat earth?
I'm sorry, how thick is it?
Yeah.
That we don't know. And again, there are questions that I can answer, and there are questions you're going to have to go there. What I do know, and I will show a picture of it, the best rendition of what we think the Earth looks like, it definitely isn't what NASA has shown us. But I'll pull that up on the screen here as soon as I can find
While he's
it.
doing that, let me say that, we have drills to drill down, but they can really only go down a few miles before.
8 miles is as far as we've ever gone.
That's it. So whatever pictures they're showing us of molten lava in the middle and all that, that's kind of cartoony stuff that.
It's a lie. And we know it's a lie because you can't have magnetism, because metal, when it's molten, has no magnetism to it. So again, if the core of the Earth is magnetized, it just falls apart.
Hot magma.
Yes.
While you're looking for that,
okay.
What is
I have it. I just got to figure out how to get it over here.
What's the benefit of lying? Why do they lie about it?
I am going to give that to you. I am definitely going to give that to you. You just got to give me a few minutes here. I've got 3 slides on that. You want me to go to it now?
Yeah.
All right. Let me go to it here.
Well, while you dig that one up, I'm going to throw another question out here, and I'll make it longer.
Oh my gosh! Why is this not doing what I want it to do?
That's a bit to answer anything too.
Go ahead. Go for it.
All right. We obviously saw last week that these billionaires built a sub that obviously didn't work. But they did it without any government regulation, without any government thought, without anybody telling them what to do.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. With that in mind, why have we not had like a Truman Show type of scenario where somebody took a boat, a plane, a ship to the edge and seen the edge?
The answer to that is we have. Okay, so again, in 1946, a Russian submarine hit the firmament. Excuse me. And understand, this is, right after World War II and just before the Cold War. And they actually measured it. I have all those documents in my papers here. But what happened is Russia and the United States then did a joint venture called Operation Dominic. Part of that was Operation Fishbowl. Hello, it's a fishbowl. Mm-hmm. Okay, and they made the Antarctic a no-fly zone, so it's being protected. Now, right. Captain Cook actually was a map navigator for Britain. And in 1775, he actually sailed the southern seas to map out the coastline of Antarctica. Now, again, his vessel should be able to handle the 11,000 miles of coastline of Antarctica in roughly 6 to 7 months. It took him 3 years to do this. He logged over 60,000 miles. That is why the UN map is what the Earth looks like. It is like a flat disk. Now, with that said, Seth, you said, why, is this important? And Trevisano said, what the hell difference does it make? Well, here it is. There are three demons we unwittingly or willingly entertain: Baal, Aphrodite, and Moloch. Now, Baal is the god of being a lord, being an owner. He's all about mind control. You're talking about your drugs, your psychedelics. This is where we get the word pharmakia from. Pharmakia is a demon, okay? And its desire is to possess. You've seen it. You've heard of Woodstock. You know what it's all about, okay? Aphrodite, again, the goddess of lust. It's about physical control, sexual perversion, and her desire is to seduce.
Yeah.
And then you have the third, which is Moloch, which is the god of human or child sacrifice, which is what's happening today. Right. It's about population control, RU4, EU6, abortion, vaccines. It's run right now. The demon is in charge of the World Health Organization, and its desire is to destroy the image of God. Now, with that said, I want to hit just 2 more slides, because I think you need to understand that these spirits have infiltrated our schools, science, media, politics, and the pulpits. I'm not showing you anything you're not familiar with, but if you look at the middle picture with Newsweek, okay, you see a certain person mimicking the goddess of destruction, which is right next to him. That is also the symbol for CERN. Okay, and
we don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
There you go. Yes, because they're all fake too. But we're talking about evil here. Okay, and so we come to what I shared with Seth earlier. There are over 33 conspiracy theories that have been turned out to be true. And if you look at them here, one of that really hurts me. Now, again, we can talk about the mafia. We just had MICHAEL FRANZESE, here, where he took an oath. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is MK Ultra. Our government decided to, unbeknownst to them, give psychedelic drugs to 60,000 U.S. soldiers without their knowledge. One of those soldiers was Ted Kaczynski, who became the Unabomber. Okay, but if you look through here, you're going to see a syphilis study. You're going to see the Iran-Contra affair. You're going to see CIA drugs running in Los Angeles. You're going to see throughout this, no, this didn't happen, but it did. And we're talking about drugs coming into this country where our government's actually profiting from it and causing it to happen. They're doing experiments on our own people without their knowledge. It's important to understand because that's Baal. You'll see other ones here. We talk about Scientology. We can talk about the World Series. We can talk about the Bohemian Grove. Okay, so any of these, if you want to in a future show go deeper, more than willing to do that. But I want you to understand, this isn't make-believe. A lot of people think, it's just a conspiracy theory. These are conspiracy facts. Okay, and it's unfortunate. But what you wind up, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's funny because, in my opinion, going back to when this actually happened, it was about 500 years ago.
Yeah.
Copernicus,
yep.
who was a Freemason.
Yep.
Okay. Now it's ironic that you're showing 33 things that happened.
Right.
As well as degrees. You see this, it's the 33 degrees of Freemasonry, which very few get to, and it's the highest knowledge point in that kind of
where
religion.
They reveal it's coming from God, from Satan.
That's right. They do. From what we understand, once you get to the 33rd level, they finally reveal who you serve, which would be basically Satan.
All right, now I'm going to bring up something I read years ago, and we'll probably get banned on YouTube and everywhere else. But I read in a book. I'm not going to say what book it was, but said that the year of the Antichrist ended up being when Obama took office.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, and again, I'm not trying to disprove it. Seth, you have to understand there are counterfeits, and there's always going to be a counterfeit. There is one true, and that's God. And so Satan always has counterfeits. Throughout history, Satan has always had his antichrist. Okay, Hitler was an antichrist. Okay, you can go through history. Is Obama an antichrist? Well, I've got video. Okay, what is antichrist? What does it mean? It means against Christ, right? And one of the things, let's see if I can pull it up here. No, it may not be on this one. Anyway, one of the things is his wife actually calls him the Messiah. He doesn't say no. When he got inaugurated in 2008, he brought a replica of the synagogue of Satan as his platform. So again, we may not know, the normal everyday person, everyday Joe may not know what's really going on. Okay. But for those of us who study this stuff, it's plain, it's simple stuff. It really is. It's, and it's unfortunate because, we should know better.
There's nobody on our side in government right now that I can see. There's no that I can tell.
It's not only government either. It's also, like we said, it's in the schools. It's from the minute you start to learn.
Somebody wants to know what's on the underside of the flat Earth.
We don't know.
Okay. Well, right. Okay. So, yeah, that's there are going to be questions we can't answer. I think it was Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain. He said this: "It's not the parts of the Bible that I understand that I don't understand that bother me. It's the parts of the Bible that I do understand that, make me stay up at night." So I did want to show you. This. Goodness gracious. I've got too many things going on here.
Can I tell you a quick story of?
Please go for it.
Okay. As far as people working with government agencies and so forth, when I was doing rideshare in 2019, I had a very interesting guest in my vehicle. Turned out to be a JPL employee, which that's Jet Propulsion's laboratories for those. It was originally Jack Parsons.
That's
Laboratories, which he's a Satanist.
Yep.
Himself, and he was heavily involved in the space program, and JPL still exists to this day, doing all kinds of demonic, weird stuff. But they also are like a jobs program in a lot of ways for good people. There are good people that work at JPL. They're not all Satan worshipers that work for them, but I kind of consider it to be like there's a few different types of government jobs that are offered out there. If you're only smart enough to get a high school diploma, you work for the TSA. If you're smarter, they kind of scoop you up earlier and give you these jobs in places like NASA or JPL. And basically, I met a kid. He's probably smart with math or whatever, but he said they were basically working on a project to map Mars. They were mapping Mars, and he's going through it. Now, me being a globe skeptic and a full disbeliever of all space programs and everything having to do with NASA, I had to ask him in a snarky way, how do you know any of the information you're getting is legit that they're telling you about Mars? And he really broke down in my car, and he's like, I really don't. And we mentioned Earth, and he's like, well, I'll tell you, he's like, Earth is easy to map because it's a flat plane. And I go, oh, gotcha. See right there. And we basically had a really heartfelt thing. This, it turned out he had gone to my same high school and we're from the same neighborhood. And he just happened to open up to me. There's a lot of people that end up doing that. You're seeing a lot of sting operations in the big pharma industry, people working there that give up this information to people willingly. And you're like, why would that guy even say that? They do. I think they have a guilty conscience in some ways. And so when they are asked, maybe you're caught off guard about it, he opened up to me, and it was just another affirmation, that this was that I was right.
And Erik, you hit on a very key point, and that is people oftentimes when they are unguarded will share things that they believe or know to be true, and it contradicts what they have been saying. You also mentioned, and I'll show you here on the screen here, if you can follow my cursor going down, these are the people who founded NASA. They are Aleister Crowley. He was a self-proclaimed beast. He was the most evil man in the world. Next to him is Jack Parsons, like you were saying. a Satanist. Okay, next to him is L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of Scientology. Next to him is Werner von Braun. He is the guy who invented the NASA rockets, the Saturn V rockets. On his tombstone, he repented. And there's only 3 things on his tombstone. They are his name, his date of birth, date of death, and Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament his handiwork. And then next to him is Walt Disney. Again, Walt Disney did 3 movies and did all the animation for what we are told is the is the globe model. And if you look next to them, I have Gogometh. This is Satan. And Satan, of course, is androgynous. And what's next to him? A boy and a girl. Mm-hmm. And if you want to protect your kids, you need to understand this is not a flesh battle. This is a spiritual battle that has been going on for since the foundation of the earth. And understand, you can't do it in your own strength. And if you really want to protect your children, you're going to have to pick a side. And I hope that you pick God, because he has never failed. And the Bible says the church doesn't fail. Matter of fact, the United States is in the book of Revelation. It says that Israel is going to flee to the desert and is going to be protected by the wings of a mighty eagle. And we know who that is. So I know that our country is going to be amazing. And I wanted to show here.
Hold on. Stop for 1 second.
Go for it.
Wouldn't today's society and the way the world is be a fail for God?
The society, I'm talking about the church, I'm talking about the actual people who are true believers, not people who go to church on Christmas and Easter or something like that.
I don't mean that. I'm just saying the way the world is with the with Satan more.
They're trying to bring it on, Chris.
What I'm saying is, hasn't Satan already won the only thought conscious organism on this planet?
Chris, I love your question. It is amazing. It's awesome. Let me answer it 2 ways. Number one is this. This happened before in the days of Noah. Noah was the only one who had his bloodline perfect, because of the Nephilim. And we can get into that anytime you want to. But understand this. God destroyed the earth, and we have proof of it, not only in the rainbow, but we have actually found the ark. Noah's ark, we have found it on Ararat. Exactly the same measurements as in the Bible. But understand, God said he was going to destroy the earth. He did. He also said that in the end times, this is Jesus talking, that it will be like the days of Noah. God said that the good would rise, but also evil would rise. And we're seeing that today. The thing is, you got to pick a side, because God is going to have judgment. He's going to judge the church first. He's going to judge those people who are lying in the pulpits, those priests who are pedophiles. He is going to judge them first before he judges anyone else. So you're going to see people dying in the pulpits in the next few years because of their unrighteousness.
All right.
Okay, now, here's what's going on. Seth, you were talking about Antarctica, okay? And again, there's an Antarctic treaty. And when you look at Antarctica, some of these, not the mountain ranges, some of these ice walls are 14,000 feet high. Right. It is huge. It's unbelievable. And again, remember, we're not allowed to fly over there since Byrd did. So
people can go to some parts on the outskirts of it, and there is scientific, scholastic stuff that goes on there. But there is basically all the governments of the world in like 47 or something.
It was 58.
58,
59,
all signed this. They were at first they were all going to rush over because Admiral Byrd, one of the explorers that we sent over, had discovered all these natural resources that were amazing, and basically all the superpowers were going to go there and basically carve it all up and take their piece. And then all of a sudden they stopped and agreed that no one would go into this zone, and they actually have a military just to protect it.
There's a lot there that we don't know. I mean, I could tell you, things that I have been made aware of by people who have top security clearances. But the bottom line is this: it's a no-fly zone for a reason. And since when do all the governments agree on anything? Yet they agree on this? Come on. Right. Something's going on. So again, I'm just trying to show some pictures here. You can see some ships.
So hold on.
Go for it.
Real quick.
Yeah.
What is it we're saying that is going on?
That they found the edge. They found the firmament.
Oh, so they have the no-fly zone to stop people from going to the other
if you were to
side?
crash into that, or it could be it would be bad.
Again, Chris, understand the ramifications. If we are not spinning, which we've already proven we are not, okay, then the heliocentric model fails. We're talking $60 million a day NASA gets for what? For lying. I mean, take a look at the map here. I can show you the blue marble in 2012, okay, and the other side of it.
Show them the 1972. The blue marble is from 1972. Now, this is Chris and Seth. This is what was in our classrooms in the 70s. Growing up, this would be on your door in the classroom, and this is a memory I had, a head scratcher as a kid, when I was looking at the blue marble that was allegedly taken on the final Apollo mission. If we could get that up on the screen, that'd be amazing. But
I don't have it.
Okay,
I mean, I have it in one of my 1,000-page documents, but I won't find it.
Basically, you have to be halfway to the moon. You have to be about 100,000 miles from Earth to be able to capture the Earth in its entirety. So that's why they basically had to fake the whole moon mission to get this photo, because this photo really captivated.
Yeah,
it's a painting. It's a painting, is what it is. It's a high realistic painting. And I know a lot now with like TikTok and these platforms, you're able to see a lot of artists that do amazing stuff like that can paint stuff that looks like a real photograph. And you've seen this, and that's what they used back then. They used a high realistic. You could see it here. That's that. No, that's not the blue marble. Right? That's a CGI.
It is blue marble, but it's CGI. But the guy who made it, did this. But you can see the reality that this is not real, because you can see the size difference. Okay.
Right.
NASA is no longer able to hide this stuff because we have the technology now.
Yeah, these are fake photos, CGI photos.
Right. These are CGIs.
Is that what you're looking for?
No.
Well, no. It's the year 1972, which is the Apollo 11.
Right.
They use the same
1972 blue marble is what we're looking for. 1972 blue marble. This is the only picture we saw for 40 years. Barack Obama was the first president to announce that they're finally got a new photo of Earth, and they showed what Michael's showing now, which looks like garbage. It's
it is.
Clearly
the whole
a
thing
fake
is
thing, but what looked interesting was the original blue marble from 1972, but when you see it blown up, you can kind of see. I remember standing in the classroom looking at it and going, "Well, look at it looks like a painting. It looks like my
it was
Star
also
Wars
Photoshopped.
posters." I had Star Wars posters at the time, and movie posters back in the 70s and 80s were all hand painted. And in my mind, I connected. I'm like, this looks like the hand painted posters that I see for movies and stuff. And lo and behold, it took till 2015 till it was finally pointed out to me. The first iPhones, when you got it, it had a picture of Earth, and the guy that designed that Earth model, he had to basically just guess what it would look like, because there was no photos of Earth to use. He had found out that they were all just CGI generated. Here, the Earth should be huge. The moon is not bigger than the Earth. Okay, the Earth is much bigger than the moon. Yet when you're looking from the moon at Earth, it looks small, that was a mess up by NASA when they did the moon landings. I don't want to hijack this show.
Eric, you're doing great, but I just as you're talking, I can bring up pictures. Here are 5 of the 6 experiments that prove that the Earth isn't spinning. But here is the problem that happened with Einstein and with some of the others. The problem which now faces science is considerable. Every scientific experiment proves the geocentric model, which is the biblical cosmology. Okay, scuttling the Copernican theory. Remember, Copernicus died 65 years before the telescope was even invented. He pulled this stuff out of the you-know-what, okay? And the revealing truth would be unthinkable. What you have here is the Encyclopedia Americana 1958. Not only did we know what the firmament looked like, we knew where it was located, and we actually divulged it in our encyclopedias. They've since taken it out. But again, if this is true, and that the earth is the center of the universe, that makes us unique, and that means that God had a plan for us, okay? And Satan doesn't want you to know that God loves you. He doesn't want you to know that there's another way to live. It's unbelievable, the amount. And what happened in 1948, is our government signed into law that we can use our own tax dollars to lie to other countries. In 2012, Obama signed into law that our government can now use taxpayer dollars to lie to us.
True story. It's a true story right there.
So what am I looking at when I look up and I see stars and other planets? And what am I
looking at? A planetarium, buddy.
Yeah, you're looking at the firmament. It's Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 6 talks about the firmament, and it says in verse 14 that the sun, moon, and stars are inside the firmament. And that's true. Understand this, Seth. You cannot have a vacuum of space. Okay, if there's a vacuum of space, the sun doesn't exist because the sun needs fuel, and in a vacuum there's nothing. Right. If you're in a container like a light bulb, you're in a container, then you can have different pressures. But if we went to in outer space, we would have to break that barrier. If we break that barrier, our Earth no longer exists. The vacuum of space would change our atmosphere. Our atmospheric pressure is 14.5 pounds per square inch. But that's because we're in a firmament.
Right.
All right. So when I'm outside in the middle of the night watching the moon,
yeah.
If I stay out there long enough, the moon moves to a different place.
Right.
Yes.
So are we saying that it's like some sort of projector that's been up there for as long as I've been? I don't understand how the stuff moves.
Maybe
if it's like a planetarium.
We don't know. They've never landed on it, but I just want to add to Seth's question earlier.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, what are you looking at up there? Well, what you're looking at is basically an ancient sky clock that predates humanity. And it's there for us to navigate. It's, to know what time it is. It's put there. It's basically just a massive sky clock. It's amazing. And it's what ships have used to navigate for thousands of years.
Right. And Erik, here's the thing, you said that you don't go to church. I appreciate that. There are a lot of bad churches out there. Okay. But the thing is, we are the church. And what you're talking about, the difference between you and I, is that I can tell you where you can find that in Scripture. So God says in Leviticus that he put these things in place specifically for days, months, years, and to also tell you about his holy convocations, which are really huge. I mean, once you start getting into biblical cosmology, you'll throw away your science books, not because science isn't good. It's that science has been corrupted. Okay. And so again, I appreciate it. Understand the answers to your questions, Seth, is this. In no place in Scripture does it say that the earth is moving. In 23 places, it says that it's not moving. It cannot move. It has a foundation. It has four corners. Okay. So again, I can't explain all that. I'm saying that's what the Bible says. However, in 50 different places in Scripture, it says that the sun, moon, and stars are moving. So what you have is the earth is stationary and you have everything else spinning above us in a perfect circle. And we can prove that with Polaris, with time-lapse photography. If you take time-lapse photography for 6 months, according to the heliocentric model, we have traveled 364,000 miles because we went from one side of the sun all the way to the other side of the sun, and there'd be stellar parallax. There is none. A guy did that. He was in the Navy. He went on a 6-month deployment. He left his camera on for that whole period of time, and Polaris never moved.
Huh. So are there other planets, or is that just made up?
Well, here's the thing, and again, I don't want to get into terms, okay? But understand, planet means a celestial body that revolves around the sun. So no, what you have is what the Bible says, and I can show you. Please, remind me of this. I will show you this with a Nikon P900 and 1000. What you have up there is CGI. I'm not talking about from your eyesight. I'm talking about from NASA. What you see are lights, and that's exactly what they are. They're lights. Okay, the moon is a light. And if you don't believe me, look at the pictures from NASA, and that surface is pale.
It's self-illuminating. The moon's giving off its own, and it's giving off a cold light, which is fascinating.
That's right. You're absolutely right.
So Mars and Saturn, they're lights.
They're lights.
Yeah, they may not exist.
I can show you. You know, let's get together sometime. I can show you if you want me to put together a presentation. I will. I have it here. Okay, it's just finding it is my problem, and that's just me. I'm a messy, but I'll tell you. You know, Erik's done his research. I've done my research, and the thing is, what got me mad is when somebody says something and it contradicts the Bible. That's what I'm going to study, and every single time the Bible's been proven true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys can see this here.
That's hard for people. I just want to weigh in, especially how the show started tonight. I was like, oh no, because you're going to scare off half the audience because you know what, being good all the time isn't fun. You know, what I mean?
It's like, a blast.
Society, it's like it's boring when you think, oh Lord, and you're constantly serving Him, and it's you know, people want to lighten up. They just want to enjoy this planet and their life, so they get a little uneasy with religion. Also, it's hard for them because there's so many terrible things that happen in the world, and there's ways to connect with people about this topic. It is science. There is a science, just like we were doing today when we started rolling into the show.
Science. It's true science.
Right. But now what Michael's saying, I don't disagree with anything he's saying, and it's cool to see those biblical things. And I was actually amazed at Werner von Braun, the Nazi who's killed Jews with his own Luger in the rocket factory, had that on his tombstone.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up because I have that in one of these things here. I had the there it is. Okay, let me see if I can bring it over. Anyway, that's the thing. You know, you have to have a source of truth, and you know, if it's yourself, you know, God love you. But I think that it has to be something beyond you,
right? Greater than yourself.
Correct. And the thing is, over time, it reveals itself.
While you're pulling that up, I'm just going to answer this real quick.
Yeah,
sure.
Does my theology degree make me believe this or not? I'm going to say straight up, my theology degree was taken out of convenience, not out of some overwhelming desire to study the Bible.
Are you
not up from a higher calling?
Look, I'll say what I said at the beginning. I'm willing to listen to all of it, and I'm willing to I will say that a lot of this makes a lot of sense. And I will also say it is very much hard to deconstruct 54 years of programming into my head.
It's very inconvenient too. People, you know, they have to change all the textbooks, and more importantly, all the people that have degrees, which is a free Masonic term, college degrees that they paid for, they're expensive to get, and this really undermines their degrees. You know what I mean? Because these universities that have these lies going, you know, it ruins what they paid for, and it basically negates and makes them feel like they got ripped off. So they definitely, educated people hate the flat earth.
So let me just throw my wrench in there. Okay. In going back in time and looking at where did all this start, you got to go back to the Protestant Reformation. And what happened is Martin Luther said, hey, you know what the church is doing isn't right. And he went through the proper change of command. He says, look, I want to talk to my Monsignor. And he wanted to set up a meeting with him to go over 95 things that he felt needed to be addressed. What happened is one of his students took that 95 thesis that he had and he nailed it to the church door in Wittenberg. And that started the Protestant Reformation. The thing is, the cardinals knew that they could not stop people from getting the Bible into their own language, because that's really what transpired. And so what they did is they said, you know what, we're going to come up with a military arm and we're going to infiltrate and we're going to destroy it from within. We're going to take over the schools. Now, Seth, you're going to be familiar with that military arm. Just like the Democratic Party's military arm was the Ku Klux Klan, the Roman Catholic Church's military arm was the Jesuits. And I can show you the Jesuit blood oath.
But Seth, you might not be familiar with the leg of that.
Yeah, not the leg.
Hey. Guys, here it is. Werner von Braun. Check out his name. Werner Magnus Maximilian von Braun. Okay. German-born aerospace architect. Okay. But here he is with Walt Disney, some of the things that Walt Disney created for our space program. He made 3 films, had his own studio set up for that, and there's his tombstone. Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament his handiwork.
You have to wonder with the Nuremberg trials how
my
guy
gosh,
who was super guilty of crimes against humanity and so forth was able to not get or managed to not get hung during these. And
well, that's Operation Paperclip.
Paperclip, right? We took him in and we gave him a choice. You're going to build these rockets for us.
1600.
Right. He's the grandfather of rocketry, basically.
Yeah.
And I think, he told them that if we needed to go to the moon, it would take a rocket the size of the Empire State Building. And they made him change his tune and agree to make the V rockets, which is it? The V6?
The Saturn V.
Saturn V rockets that were going to be used to take the Apollo astronauts up to the moon. And it was just it's a big fake show. We believe that Stanley Kubrick helped them film the moon missions.
Yeah.
And
and they threatened his family.
Right.
And he finally came out with it and told the truth. Guys, look at the screen. Here's the Smith-Mund Act of 2012. Read what's in black, okay? The State Department and Pentagon now legally utilize all forms of media against the American public for the sake of coercing U.S. citizens to believe whatever version of the truth the U.S. government wants them to believe.
Yep.
2012, Barack Insane Obama.
True story. Throw out your TV, folks, or definitely stop watching the news.
Oh, sorry. I need to flip this. But, we're getting kind of deep here, and I appreciate, being able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Walt Disney was a Freemason, too. He's a 33.
Chris, 33.
You could go to the Club 33 at Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll tell you another 33 is our buddy James Cameron, who's been in the news lately with the submarine. And he's done movies about the Titanic. He is instrumental in faking all the spacewalks that you see for the space station and so forth. He created the swimming pools that are in Florida that they used to allegedly train the astronauts for NASA to do spacewalks. Yeah. That's actually the technique he uses to make his movies, which is phenomenal. He's really, in a sense, our Stanley Kubrick.
I watched a spacewalk today on TikTok or whatever it was, and literally there was no stars behind. There was no stars behind the astronaut that was out there supposedly walking in space. There was nothing there.
There's videos of guys with a wetsuit behind the astronaut and bubbles coming out. Literally bubbles coming out because they're faking it. Yeah.
On the first screen, that I showed you, where we said the behind the curve. The second one is a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. If you can make that available to people, that is NASA's own footage proving that they never went to the moon. If you look at the screen here, the scientific method then and now, the scientific method used to be that you observe natural phenomena, you formulate a hypothesis, you test the hypothesis via rigorous experimentation, okay, and then you establish a theory based on the repeated validation of results, or you modify the hypothesis. That was the true scientific method. Now what we do is this. You generate a theory based upon government grants. You carefully craft experiments to prove the theory is valid. Then you write algorithms to automatically adjust the data to meet government expectations. Then you publish papers while renaming the theory a hypothesis and pretend you used the scientific method. And then you hide the data and refuse to honor the Freedom of Information Act request. And then you pilfer real scientists and claim the science is settled. Sound like Fauci?
Right.
Yeah.
I think the last 3 years were a great way to wake people up to how information is handled. And now that we see how guilty they are of controlling the big tech companies, how the government came in and this has been proven that they've said to them, you are not allowed to show any vaccine hesitancy type posts or rhetoric on there. And they do the same thing with Flat Earth. They've taken control of that as well. And they've basically are squashing the revolution by leading it, in a sense that they put out so much flat earth garbage there to turn people off from looking into it.
And that's why I go back to scripture. And people ask the question, well, what does the Earth actually look like? And all we can do is go back to scripture and to other civilizations and what they looked at. And here is the best rendition that I can come up with. He placed the earth firmly on its foundation, that it cannot be moved forever and ever. And so you have the firmament, you have the underworld, you have Sheol, the place of the dead, you have the foundations of the earth, you've got the four corners. It's not perfect, but it's the best I can come up with.
Mm-hmm. This would also be referred to, the Van Allen belts that were discovered, I think in the 70s.
It was 1958.
Oh, 58.
This is all the same time frame.
Right. Now that's almost like another word for the firmament. I think
it is.
Basically, you can, that's a scientific thing. They'll admit that there's these Van Allen belts, and they'll say to us that it's that they super high level of radiation. Yet when you look at the Apollo missions, they didn't really have any protection for that. We can't send anybody up there today for that exact reason. And I've gotten into serious, arguments with friends and family members. And one of the things that would come up is they would say, we're going to the moon next week. Because for years they've been saying, we're sending another mission up to the moon again. And I would laugh and tell my friends, no, they're not. They're going to kick it down the road. And I've had bad arguments that happened like 6 years ago. Now, as long as they keep putting in the news that there's going to be another mission to the moon, people have faith that there's going to be. But it'll always get scrapped, kicked down the road. I saw somebody try to ask a question about what are we seeing from satellites. Satellites are not as advertised. From what we could see, they are hanging on helium balloons. They use balloons. Now. Most recently, the Chinese dropped a couple of these in our backyard. Talk about Truman Show. This was for a lot of people. This should have been a Truman Show moment. Because that's when they should have all realized, wow, satellites aren't up in the thermosphere, which is ridiculous anyway, because it's very hot up there and it would melt these things.
Well, that's the thing. The Van Allen radiation belts are over 7,000 degrees. The Apollo capsule, where the men were, had to be made out of honeycomb aluminum because all the other ones were too heavy and the rocket toppled. So in order for them to go through that, and that melts at 1,500 degrees, they had to go through the imaginary Van Allen radiation belts for 2.5 hours. There's no way. Okay. And so again, I have a documentary by NASA that says they never left low Earth orbit. They can't go above 250 miles because they will die.
I don't think they even got that far, to be honest.
Well, that's where the satellites are now. The ISS is supposedly 250 miles.
There's no ISS up there. There's no footage. There's no footage of the ISS being constructed. It's a joke that they would be in that death trap. There's some funny videos regarding this. One of the most hilarious ones, it was something like being on the space station would be a nightmare or something like that. But they typically go through, like, if you look at what they allegedly poop in, not to be gross, but
no, you're right.
The bathroom contraption they have, there's no window to open up when somebody takes a dump, and you have 12 astronauts on there in their dockers acting like everything's great.
It's just like that deep space, that deep water submarine, the Titan.
Right.
So here's the 1972 globe that you were talking about. It's on the screen.
No, wait, I gotta go to your screen.
Yes, it is. There it is. Finally. 72, and you can see the other ones. And here's the guy who did all this for NASA, Robert Simmons, and he admits it's photoshopped.
Right.
Okay. I mean, NASA's own employees admit this. It's just unbelievable that people still think I'm crazy.
Will the real Earth please step up? Because if everybody could do this themselves, go onto Google or DuckDuckGo, go picture of Earth from space, and you will be so bummed out because you're going to see about 40 different Earths, and you're going to go, what the hell is going on?
Hold up.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, man, but it's about that time. We're going to have to do another show on this because
of course.
There's a lot more to get into, Erik.
Well, there is, but what I want to do, if it's all right with you guys, is have people, submit questions to you. I will answer them, and whatever you want the show to be on, I'll be more than glad to come out here and bring, Erik or anyone else who does research on this stuff, because you need people who are knowledgeable.
Yeah, and we were able to, I'm glad you had somebody else like me, actually.
Me too.
Because it's scary to go up against normal people. I mean, and for the people out there that know what Michael and I are talking about and you're on the same page, you also know what kind of opposition we face. Even my own family, my own lady can't stand it that I do this. She sends me all the most irritating memes that make fun of flat earthers, and there's not much I could do. I have to, on her own time, she'll figure it out. I try to give her little clues here and there.
That's what it is.
And I gotta love her anyway.
Right.
She's a good person. Other than that, eventually, there's a lot that's gone in. There's a lot that's gone in to controlling our minds. Govern means control, and ment means mind, and their way of controlling us was this globe model, and they do not want us looking to a higher power. They want us worshiping the government, not a god. They don't want us pointing out things they're doing wrong and saying God wouldn't appreciate that and overthrowing them, or having faith that there's something outside of this life, this realm.
I know we got to go. To God be the glory. And, if you were sincere about the prayer I shared with you, let me know, because you're now part of the family of God.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you, Erik Ferentinos.
God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. I'm so stoked.
And Chris, we got to get together, all right?
Absolutely.
And you guys are going to be on in just a little bit, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Erik and I will be back in 2 hours for 2 more hours on Chris Aiken Presents.
It's not the greatest podcast in the world, but it's pretty close.
It is the best.
Yeah.
It's other than this one. And the CMS.
You guys are like 1A here, 1B.
That's right. Yeah, but we have some cool guests. We have some cool guests tonight. Very religious band, Pissing Razors, will be on, and, as well as John Corabi of Motley Crue fame and the Dead Daisies, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and on that note, we're going to say goodbye to the minister. Thank you very much.
Right.
My pleasure, gentlemen.
All right, we will talk to you again soon, and this is going to be put up everywhere. We're going to do another show on this because I can't.
Absolutely.
So thanks everybody listening today. Much appreciated. And God willing, I'll talk to you again on Wednesday nights.
See ya.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye.